Okay, so before I go into speaking a little bit more about what the seven levels of devils are, first of all, I want to have a precursor to this and just explaining a little bit more about what is going to be crucial for you to understand so that you know exactly where these locks are placed by those devils so that you're able to unlock the locks within you and in the certain areas that you have to so that you can get towards where you want to be. Because ultimately, where you are right now and where you want to be, there is a gap between you and that place. So what you have to understand is that in the exact same way as where when you want to close any gap physically in the three-dimensional world, you have to move from where you are right now to where you want to be within a certain vehicle. Every single time. No matter whether you do it in your car, whether you do it in somebody else's car, whether you do it on a bus, a train, or whether you even walk, there is always a vehicle that has to take you as a soul to wherever you want to be. Now, we do this even when we're moving in our room, right? We move from our bed to the bathroom, we move from there to the kitchen, and we do it within a certain vehicle. We're always closing this gap within a vehicle. But it makes sense at certain times to close the gap with a particular vehicle. So it makes sense to me to use my legs and to use my body to take me from my couch to my kitchen, but it might not make sense for me to use my body to go from my couch in the UK to my couch in Malaysia. It doesn't really make sense. That's when I have to start to think about using a different vehicle. And so when it comes to your goals as to you trying to get from the lowest level, which is the levels of love, intelligence, and the place of bravery, when you're trying to get from these lowest levels all the way to legacy, you have to understand that your vehicle of your body can only take you so far. And if you choose a vehicle which is a bicycle, or you choose a vehicle which is a car, you choose a vehicle which is, only a motorbike, that can only take you so far as well. So you really have to assess and understand what is the right vehicle that's going to take me all the way to another continent or even another planet, another freaking moon. And if you want to go to the moon, the only thing that you can take to get there right now that we know of is a freaking rocket ship. That's the only vehicle that you can take to get there. So you have to start thinking about, right, what vehicles is it going to require me to go from the level that I'm at right now to the level that I'm destined to be at. And are you destined to be at legacy? Maybe not all of you are. Maybe you just want to be a place of order where things are more peaceful. But if you really want to have that legacy where you're creating not just impact, but residual impact, then you need a fucking good vehicle, right? Can't just have your body, can't just have your car. You gotta have something like a plane or a rocket ship. And these vehicles, they operate in certain different ways. Think about the vehicle of your body. The vehicle of the body just doesn't work automatically. Some people have an absolutely terrible vehicle of their body because they can't walk, they can't run, they can't do things physically that takes them far. So they have to rely on other vehicles because theirs is pretty much broken because of how they wrecked it. They didn't take care of it. That's why it's so important to take care of your health, because your health is the only thing that you have that will allow you to experience life in that vehicle. This is where you're going to experience life all the time. It's the only thing that will allow you to experience life to the fullest, right? By having that health. It's foundational. So when you think about what contributes to a person's health, it's simply about what goes in and what isn't going in as well. So it's deficiency, right? So what's not going in, and also about nutrition, what's going in too. So as long as you have the balance between the two, then you're all good. But understand, if you put in the wrong things to your vehicle, which is the health of your vehicle, then that vehicle is not going to be able to operate because the fuel that's going into the vehicle is not the correct fuel. It's the same thing that happens for a car. If you put vegetables into a car, the car's not going to move going all the way to where it can go at the speed that it says that it can go on the modifications and on the description when you buy the car. It's not going to go at 180 miles an hour if you're giving it vegetables and fruit, because that's for the wrong vehicle. It requires a different fuel. Is this making sense? So, when you're moving towards your destination, where you want to get to as well, some of you are using the wrong fuel because you're so used to giving up a certain fuel for a different vehicle. The fuel that it requires to revise for an exam in university is a different fuel that it requires to launch a business. The fuel that it requires to launch a business is a different fuel that it requires to make an investment. So you have to understand what is the vehicle that you're in right now, and also, which one do you want to be based on where you want to go for your end destination. So yeah, you can't be putting vegetables and water in a car. You got to put in petrol, because that's that's what's required. And so there's different fuel for every single vehicle, and also it requires that there's a certain skill set that you have in being able to make that vehicle go forwards. So babies go through a phase of learning how to drive their vehicle when they go from crawling to walking to then running. That's them getting more skilled at using the vehicle. And it's the same way that you don't just become a master of driving an aircraft or riding a car. You have to go through a period of training. You have to go through a period of them teaching you and becoming more independent on the roads, and then final examination to where you can do it fully independently. So it's the same thing with every single one of these vehicles, is that there's a skill set that has to take place where you have to learn that skill set, and once you have, then you can start riding the vehicle. So yeah, I want to give you a quick breakdown to what these vehicles are. You have a certain choice to think about which ones you want, depending on how far you want to go. So at the lowest level, you have the vehicle of the body. That's what every single person on this earth has, but not everyone takes care of it. Then you have the vehicle of, things which you can use as a pedal, which require the fuel from the vehicle, where you're simply riding a bike, or you're driving a skateboard, a scooter, one that you push and things like that. Things like this require a little bit more energy from us in terms of that fuel. Then you have something which is more like a single motorbike or a single moped, where it's only you that can be in it, or those single cars, you might have seen them as well. It's only you that can be in there. And once we've gone to the next vehicle, those require petrol, by the way. Once you go into the next vehicle, then you go to a car or a bus, where it can have more people in there that will be able to go towards a destination. It's not just you, but it's a family of people. And then from there, you go to having a plane, which requires, different type of fuel, a lot more fuel, and also it's going to help you to take off into the air. And it's one of the only times that you can now start to, really change the game. And this is pretty much where everyone wants to be. Everyone wants to be in a place where they're no longer trading their time for money. And that's the best analogy that I can give when it comes to the difference between riding a bike or driving a car, being on the ground, versus being in the air. When you have a business, that's when you're in the air. And then the final thing that everybody really wants to get to, and they want to skip to that place as quick as possible, but it doesn't work like that, is they want to reach passive income. So if you want to reach passive income, then understand that you have to take a rocket ship into the moon, because that's what that represents. The moon is passive income, residual income, legacy. That's legacy, that level of heaven. So if you're trying to get a rocket ship all the way to the moon, then that's going to require the most amount of fuel to any other of those ones that we described before. And it's going to require a certain type of fuel as well. So understand that this is kind of what I'm explaining when it comes to the different vehicles that you can be in. It's different opportunities, it's different business models, it's different investment models. And being able to discern between where you're at right now, whether you're in a job, which is most likely for me, it's kind of like being in maximum a motorbike, maybe a bicycle, or even sometimes it's walking, depending on what job you have. But really, everybody says, I don't want to trade my time for money, I don't want to be in a job, I don't want to be living this life in this hell, I want to be in heaven. And if you do, it requires fuel, it requires that you've got the right rocket ship, you've got the right plane. It's as simple as that. So if you understand this video, just give me some feedback as well. If you can reach out, let me know if this is making sense, if this is just changing your paradigm right now, making it so simple, and everything else in the rest of this course is going to make so much more sense, because I'm going to refer back to some of this language when I'm speaking about and teaching some of the other principles that we're going to go through as well. So we're going to go into speaking about the levels of devils as well in the next video, and that's going to be a great one to watch. So I'll see you there.